Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have had this video requested so many times and I'm finally sitting down to film it for y'all. We are going to be talking about my favorite brushes. Now I have anticipated that this will be a very long video, so I will do my best to put timestamps down in the description box to which brushes I'm talking about. So if you only care about my powder brushes, then I'll tell you when I start talking about those. If you care about all my brushes, which I have a lot of favorites, then you can just watch the entire video. I am showing you multiples of my favorite for each category of makeup that I apply to my face because I have different price points, I have different companies, you know, I want to give you all options. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. First, I want to start off by talking about a company that you will see a lot of options from in this video because I have grown to absolutely adore this company, these brushes, and that is Rephr. You see me using Rephr a lot, not only on here, but definitely on Instagram. And today is exciting because as of the day that I upload this video, their core collection, which you see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, is going to be $80 off. This is huge. It's a 48% discount. You can get this for the $80 off using the code Concept Store. I will have all of this listed down in the description box. This is not sponsored by any means. I just love Rephr. The Concept Store coupon code is not an affiliate. That works just because Rephr loves their customers. I do have a link, however, that is an affiliate that will work on every other brush because I'm going to be talking about some other brushes that aren't included in the core collection, and that will get you 20% off. So that is an affiliate link. I will put all of that information down below, but I wanted to start off by letting y'all know that as of today, you can get this set for $80 off, which is huge. Okay, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start and do my best and go the order in which I apply products to my face. The very first thing I do is brows. I have one brow brush. I don't have options. I have used this brow brush for probably the past 7 years. I'm not kidding. This spoolie part has come off. I just stick it back on there. Like, y'all, this is it for me. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 12 brush, and it is a brow brush. Now, I can say it's a brow brush, but I have a ton of different brow brush companies and variety in my professional kit, and this is still my absolute favorite. There's something about the angle of the brush. There's something about the width of the brush because I want my brow brush to be really skinny, and I really like it to be dense too. I don't want there to be a ton of give because I have to literally paint my brows on every day. So I need something that's going to be super precise, and I don't waver from this. Like I said, it is something that's been in my collection for years, and it will continue to be in my collection whenever this truly does bite the dust. The next thing I do is apply eye primer, and honestly, I probably wouldn't have included this step if I didn't use this brush for my corrector as well. I use it for both my eye primer and my corrector. It's the Fit Glow Beauty Conceal and Correct brush. So this is it right here. It's a dual-ended brush. I do like this side, but this side is the star of the show for me. If you can tell, I mean, it's well loved. I used it today. It comes up, it has a flat side on either side, and then it comes up to a point. This is the very perfect design to get right up in that inner corner, right under my lash line, right on my brow, because I do my brows before I prime my eyes. So I can get that straight line on my brow when I apply my eye primer. And it's just the only one that I use. Hands down, my favorite for those two steps. Now at this point, I go into face. So let's talk about my face brushes because I have a lot of them. And this is my day to deep clean my brushes. I deep clean my brushes once every 2 weeks. I spot clean my brushes, some of them in between uses, in between those 2 weeks, as needed, basically. But I will be deep cleaning all of these brushes after this video. So the next thing I do is foundation. I have 3 favorite foundation brushes. The first one is the IT Brushes for Ulta number 15. So as you can see, this has a slant to the brush, and it is very densely packed. I do like a densely packed brush the majority of the time. I have one in here that's a little bit looser, and I'll tell you when I like to use that. My preferred way of applying foundation is to stipple. You've seen it in almost all of my videos where I just like to press the foundation into my skin versus buff or swipe. I just feel like you get the best coverage, you get the least amount of streaks, you get the best blend when you stipple. This is an excellent stipple brush. It's just excellent. The flat top density, love it so much. The other one that has probably been my longest loved in my collection is also from IT Cosmetics, and it's the Heavenly Luxe number 7 dual-ended complexion brush. So as you can see, this has this side, which I use for foundation. This side can be used for concealer. I don't use this side for concealer because I use a sponge for my actual concealer. However, I have a couple of these in my kit, and I do like to use this side for concealer. So it's a great dual purpose brush. I know a lot of people don't like to store dual-ended brushes. I do store this in a cup, and I find I don't get any damage to the concealer part. So this is my favorite one for the longest amount of time. And then this one is a little bit less densely packed, and I like it for specifically more full coverage foundations where I may not want that super heavy coverage that you can get from stippling. And this is the BK Beauty 106 brush. I also love this brush for cream bronzer. I mean, I just think the size of the brush head and the way that it's pinched at the ferrule, it's just beautiful for that. But as you can see, it's much less densely packed than this. See how much this one doesn't move as much as this one when I run my fingers through it. So when I have a super full coverage foundation or even a light coverage tinted moisturizer that I want like sheer coverage, I'm gonna pull for something like this. Again, I love this for cream bronzer. Again, I like to use the sponge for concealer. I will link my sponge down below because it is a tool as well, and it's from e.l.f. Beauty. Hands down my favorite beauty sponge. They're $5 a piece at Ulta, and you cannot get better in my opinion. The next thing I'm gonna do is use powder to set my foundation. Now I have 3 favorite powder brushes, again, all for different uses. The first one is the BK Beauty 102 brush. This is what I use today to set my foundation. I like to use this one with pressed powders. It's a little bit bigger. I feel like I can get a good amount of product onto the brush. And honestly, I can tap it like 3 or 4 times and I've covered my entire face because of how large it is. These BK Beauty brushes are extremely soft, no matter how much you wash them, because I have washed them plenty of times and I still do not find that they lose their shape or their beautifully soft texture. So I like this, again, for a lot of things, but specifically pressed powders. And then I like this one, the 104 brush from BK Beauty for loose powders. One, because it's a little bit smaller in size, as you can see, it's almost half the size. So it fits into my caps better when I, tap the loose powder out into the cap than this one does. If I use this one, it kind of goes everywhere because it's just so large. And I feel like I can pinpoint my application more. I feel like when I use loose powders, I don't need as much powder as when I use a pressed. That may just be me and that's okay, but that is how I feel. So I am able to use less product and really just pinpoint the specific areas of my face that I want to set when I'm using this brush. Now, my third favorite powder brush is the Jenny Patinkin powder / bronzer brush. This is super, super soft as well. It's very similar to this. It's a little bit larger in size. Pretty sure it's way more expensive too. So I'm just telling you that this is my favorite, but you can definitely get this and get the same nice result. I use this with both loose and pressed powders because it's almost the middle sibling between these. So you've got the large, the medium, and the small. So those are my favorite powder brushes. Now let's talk bronzer. Oh, how I love a bronzer brush. And I've got 4 favorites for bronzer. 3 of them are from Refer, so I'll talk about the one that's not right now, and that is the Osmosis Large Accent Brush. So you see me use this a lot on here as well as Instagram if you follow me there, because I've been doing a lot of get ready with me lately over on Instagram. I like these with the kind of harder pressed baked jelly formulas. For instance, I pulled it out so I could show you, the Chantecaille bronzer, the Clinique Flower bronzer. It's kind of that harder pan, harder pressed product, and I find that this Duo Fiber brush picks it up the best, and it really diffuses. I mean, Duo Fibers in general diffuse product gloriously. So I love that for those kind of bronzers. Now, every other bronzer, Zeus is about to go loco. These mail carriers, they just drop it and run. They're like, this horse is really loud and is right in front of that window. If you don't know, I have an English Mastiff. Ooh, they're backing up. I must have a big package. Oh my goodness. It was my daughter's vanity. That was fun. Okay, back to brushes. The other 3 bronzer brushes are all from Rephr, and I love them with every other bronzer I have. Honestly, I love them so much. This is the one that I use today. This is the Rephr number 5. So this comes in the core collection that I talked about. And I love the size. I used it with my Glow Skin bronzer, and it just is so nice when I want a more precise line, because I used a concealer for a cream bronzer that I've been loving to use. And so I didn't want a ton more bronzer on my face. So I wanted it to be more precise. I wanted it to not be all over my face. So I like to use something like this, as well as something like the number 4 brush, which technically you would look at and say, oh, that looks like a blush brush. Now, of course, you can use it for blush, but I love this for bronzer. I think it picks up product so well. The Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, which I feel like can be super hard packed in the pan and can be a little bit harder to pick up product. I love this brush with that bronzer. I love it with all bronzers. It's just very easy. You could also use it for contour, put it on its side, or use this edge right here if you wanted a more precise contour. Love it. And then this one is the 22 brush. Now, this is the concept brush that, you know, you can buy for 50% off in their concept store when they first launch a brush. This is what it looks like now. So this is brand new. I haven't even used this one yet, but this is the glorious P22, and it will, you know, once you use it, fray out to be like this. This is very similar to the Tom Ford bronzer brush, but I like this one better. There's just something about it that I absolutely love. So when I'm using like my Hourglass bronzers where I really want that veil almost all over my face, I will use this because it's so large. So good. When I'm using like my mask makeup where I use my tinted SPF, a powder foundation, and a bronzer, and that's all I put on my face, I will use this to give that real nice color and kind of have my bronzer act as my highlight and blush as well. So love all 4 of those for bronzer. I love. All right, let's talk about blush. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Blush, this is one of my favorites, and it is so like, it's dinged up, it's dented, it is well loved. And this is It Cosmetics Soft Touch Blush Brush. It was from a discontinued set from Ulta. They have plenty of blush brushes. I've tried them. They're not exactly like this, but I do use this quite often for blush. I love the size of it. Now, if you don't have as large of a face as me, you don't want something this large, and obviously you can't get this one, the next blush brush that I would recommend is also from BK Beauty, and it's the 107 brush. So obviously this can be used for bronzer and highlight and blush, but I like it for blush. I like to lay it on its side like this and sweep it up my cheek, because I do like to take my blush all the way from my cheek to my hairline. So I find it to be the perfect size for that, and I think that you will absolutely love this, and it is my favorite next to the It Cosmetics, and you can actually still get this one. So there's a bonus. I have 2 highlight brushes that I use and love. The first is the Anastasia A23. This is meant to be a highlight brush. I like the size of it. I can just set it on its side, or I can set it, you know, right there on the tip if I want to put a little bit of highlight in between my brows, or a little bit on the tip of my nose, on my Cupid's bow. It's a perfect size for highlight. I use it quite often. The one that I use today, which I also like, especially for the types of highlight that I use today, this is the Rephr number 18 brush. And this is their little smaller handle travel set that I bought one time. And I like to use this with my more natural, not so in your face highlights. So I use the Jane Iredale eyeshadow in Allure, which has always been one of my favorites. But I find that this is so natural and gorgeous and soft on the face that I can even go in more with it. So I will pick it up on a little bit of a larger brush and I will go like this. So it almost gets on my cheek a little bit and meshes with my blush, which I like. And it helps you be able to see it from the front too. Now there are some highlights I would not do that with because it would just look too much. But I just find that when I'm using more natural highlights, I'd like to use this little bit bigger brush. I did forget to talk about setting my under eyes. My favorite brush of all time to set my under eyes is the Wayne Goss #2 brush. I rarely ever deviate from this brush. I love it so much. It is incredibly soft and incredibly easy to just pat that powder under your eyes. Love this so much. You will see I don't really ever use anything else to set my under eye. Now the only thing left for face is buffing. And again, I use an It Cosmetics brush for buffing that is discontinued. It came in the same set that that stinking blush brush came in, but I do love this so much. Now you could use the Osmosis Large Accent to buff as well. I love a duo fiber. It's my favorite preferred type of brush to buff. I also have been loving the Jane Iredale blending brush. You can see it's a little bit skinnier than the It Cosmetics, but it's that same duo fiber technology, works just as well. I have 2 of these and I wanted to show you. I also love it for the liquid minerals. And I feel like so many people love the liquid minerals, but I have a lot of people that feel like there's a learning curve to it. And this brush will take that learning curve out. It's so nice. You can see I've used liquid minerals quite a few times this week and it definitely needs to be washed, but I love this brush for those 2 purposes. Okay, long-winded face brushes are done. Let's move into eye brushes. I bet y'all are glad I'm doing these timestamps, aren't you? I do have quite a few eye brushes, but I feel like we might go a little bit quicker. Yeah, I make no promises. So first is crease color. I almost always lay down a transition color or crease color first. I have 3 favorite brushes. I have 4 right here because 2 of them are the exact same one for the purpose of crease colors. The first one is the Wayne Goss #16 brush. Most of these are, well, this and the next one I'm going to talk about are pretty much the same size. I like it to be a little bit larger. I like it to be soft and fluffy, but I don't want it to be so large where it's going to actually put, you know, color up onto my brow bone that I don't want. So I just like that really soft, large size of a brush. And the other one that I have 2 of is the Rephr #15 brush. This has been my absolute favorite lately. I used this one today. This is the concept one. This is the permanent one. And it, again, is similar to the Wayne Goss in size. And I just feel like the density of these brushes is perfect for what I want in a crease color. Now, if I want something, if I've laid down a transition color and I want to go in with a little bit of a darker color on top of that, I still want to be able to see that transition color a little bit. Or if I just want a more precise application in the crease, I like the Scott Barnes #62 brush. So this one is a little bit skinnier and not as fluffy. I'll put it up next to the Wayne Goss so you can see. And it's going to give you that precise application. I don't feel like it deviates much from the form that it's in now. For example, I don't feel like when I put it in my crease and blend that it splays out too much and puts product where I don't want it. So that is my favorite for crease if I want a blown out crease color or if I want a more precise one. Then I will typically go in with a lid color. My favorite brushes for that, one is from BK Beauty, and it is the 203 brush. This is a very precise, small brush that packs on lid color really well. And then I also love the Rephr #2 brush. So again, this comes at the Core Collection, and you can see it's a small, flat brush that really packs on color. I like dense brushes. I like the small brushes. I love these 2 and use them quite often for lid colors, whether they be matte or shimmer. It does not matter. They work both great. For outer V colors, or if I want to darken out the outer section of my eye, I have 3 that I like the best. The one I use today is the Rephr #1, again in the Core Collection. This is a little bit taller. The bristles are a little bit taller than the next couple that I'm going to talk about, which also makes it great for a wash of color brush. So if you just want to put one color all over your lid and, you know, blend it up into the crease, this is a great option and probably the one I would suggest out of the three I'm going to talk about for that purpose. But it also works for the outer V. Again, I just kind of packed that outer V color on the outer V of my eye. How many times can I say that? And it works wonderfully, especially if I want to turn it over and, you know, blend that color up into the next one is the Sonia G Worker Pro Brush. So really, I mean, Sonia G can't go wrong. I have quite a few of her eye brushes. Just because I did not put them in this does not mean I don't love them, but I especially like this one and the size of it for even applying if I want maybe like a less opaque eye lid color, then I like to use this one too because it's not as densely packed, but it's perfect for that outer V. And then finally, the BK Beauty, I've been talking too long, 205 brush. I talked about this in a favorites video for its really genius shape. It is so perfect to turn onto its side and apply that product right in the inner corner, especially if you want to take it up into your crease. So those three are my absolute favorite for the outer corner work. Now let's get into some detail work. I only have a few brushes left and I promise I'm going to shut up. My lower lash line, I always, y'all know, smudge some color under my lower lash line. I have a whole video of different ways that you can apply shadow to your lower lash line for different results, and they call for different shaped brushes. I do have three that I reach for the most. The first one is the Refer number 3. This is a brand new one, so it's clean. But you can see this is a very precise pencil brush. This also comes in the core collection, but if you want something, this is what I use for like a very dark color. So if I am doing a smoky eye and I want a dark color and then I want to buff a lighter color over that, I will use this to place the dark color right under my eye. It's so precise. It's not going to buff as much and give you a very smoked out look because of the density and shape of the brush. But if you want that dark color or just your color in general to kind of mimic an eyeliner under the eye, this is perfect for that. It is just a glorious detail pencil brush. Now, if I want to really buff out a color under the eye, y'all know I always reach for my Wayne Goss number 20 brush. This is it right here. Love this brush so much. It's what I used today because I wanted that more smoked out look, and I just don't even have to use a mirror. I know it's going to work every single time. Love this brush so much. The third one I like to use when I'm using an eyeliner under my eye or an eyeshadow crayon or pencil under my eye or a cream shadow because of the density. And it's the BK Beauty 204 brush. So if you can see, it's much more dense. It's like a smudger brush, which I like when I'm using creams. I find that the denser synthetic bristles like this work better with creams. So I almost always reach for this one when I am working with those. It also works great with powder. Eyeliner brushes. If you are new to my channel, I am not a huge eyeliner fan in general. I don't wear it often. However, when I do, I almost always use an eyeshadow. I feel like it's less harsh. I feel like it looks better. I just feel like it's more flattering for me to use an eyeshadow. Now, when I want to use an eyeshadow and have it be a very smoky, smudged out line, I will always reach for the Sephora number 18 brush. So again, another smudger brush, but it's a little even more smaller than the last one I talked about. It fits on that lash line really good and really smokes out any kind of color you want on the lash. Now, one of my last Instagram Get Ready With Me's, I did a small wing. Y'all rarely ever see me do that, but when I do, I like to use the Delium Tools 760 brush. You can see how minuscule and perfect this detail brush is for a wing shadow. So I will take that eyeshadow just a little bit up. I will fill it in with this brush. It's the only one I reach for when I do a winged eyeliner. It will work with gel eyeliners if you want to do a wing. If I'm using, I have some of these in my kit, and if I'm using a pencil eyeliner, for example, but I want to give a little bit of a wing and I want it to be more precise, I will pick up the product with this brush out of the pencil, like straight off the pencil, and then apply it. versus putting the pencil on and trying to get a wing, especially if it's something like the Marc Jacobs pencils that are not as easy to sharpen. They're twist ups. I will definitely use that technique. So love that. And then finally, last brush I'm going to talk about is for inner corner and brow bone, and that has to go to the Alter Ego number 8 brush. I love the size of this brush. Any of those smudger brushes that I just talked about, like the 18 and the BK Beauty 204, will also do this fine. I just reach for this because I know it's never going to have a dark shadow on it. I don't use it for eyeliner too. I use it specifically to put that product on my inner corner and my brow bone. Love the shape, love the density, love the brush. That is my long-winded favorite brush video. Now, if I have ever talked about in favorites before, loving a brush, and I didn't talk about it here, I still love the brush, y'all. I couldn't talk about all of them. I have legitimately hundreds of brushes in my collection, hundreds. I mean, if you take in the stuff I have in my kit and the stuff I have in my personal, it's almost embarrassing how many I have. So yes, I love other brushes, but this is my core collection that I reach for the most for different reasons. And I know it's a large collection. Pick you one from each category and you will be good to go. I do wash my brushes with Dr. Bronner's Castille soap. Any Castille soap will do. Kroger's has the Castille soap in their generic brand. I've used that before. That's what I use to deep clean. And I use either the Perry and Spirit or the Cinema Secrets to spot clean in between. I will link all of those down below as well. So thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. I will do my best to link every single brush that I talked about in the description box below, as long as YouTube does not cut me off with characters. And I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, safe, sane, and most of all that you go out and have a very blessed day.